Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of U.S. Intelligence. We are going to spend this chapter taking a deep dive into all of the agencies that make up the U.S. intelligence community. And we're going to start out with the National Security Agency, which is often abbreviated as the NSA. This is a U.S. intelligence agency that collects computer network operations in order to gain an advantage over adversaries. They engage in collection and analysis of foreign communications and are responsible for protecting the United States communication and information systems. However, in the not too recent past, they were embroiled in a national scandal when it was determined that they were actually also conducting surveillance, warrantless surveillance on United States Americans by a contractor named Edward Snowden, he was a federal contractor who worked in tandem with the NSA. And like I said, found through the execution of his work that the NSA was conducting unsubstantiated, unjustified surveillance on Americans without warrants and without justification, which is technically illegal. You're going to be taking a deep dive into this scandal and into this issue. You're going to be watching the documentary titled Citizen 4, which takes you through the process of what Edward Snowden found and the process of what happened when he released the information that he found. And you're going to have a written assignment that you have to complete based around this issue. Next is the Director of National Intelligence, which is often referred to as the DNI, which is responsible for leading intelligence integration to forge an intelligence community that delivers the greatest insight in intelligence through agency to agency information sharing. This is often a huge barrier. It's a problem generally in law enforcement, in federal law enforcement, local and state law enforcement, is information sharing from agency to agency. And remember that the intelligence community consists of 18 federal agencies. They're all constantly gathering information, assessing it, evaluating it, analyzing it, turning it into intelligence. And one of the big bottlenecks that we see is information sharing within those 18 agencies. So we developed an agency specifically focused about making sure that that information is not just sticking in one of those 18 agencies, but that it's getting shared through all agencies so that everybody has access to the larger picture of what's going on for the United States security. Next is the National Counterterrorism Center, and this is an example of information sharing among intelligence agencies. This is a group of 20 different individuals from different agencies that are brought together to this center specifically to meld. They come with their intelligence, they meld their intelligence, they share their information to work as one community instead of individual agencies. And they are specifically focusing on intelligence surrounding terrorist threats and terrorist activities. The next, you're all familiar with the Central Intelligence Agency, which is also referred to as the CIA. This is an agency that was introduced after World War II to gather and analyze information. It actually was originally called the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, prior to World War II, and then it evolved and morphed into the CIA. This agency is in place to preempt threats to national security by engaging in collecting foreign intelligence, providing objective source analysis, conducting covert actions as directed by the president, and safeguarding secrets to maintain national security. The next agency is the Department of Energy, and they focus on all things nuclear related. Excuse me. They study nuclear capabilities and proliferation of foreign governments with heavy emphasis on foreign governments that are active enemies of the United States. We want to know where they are at in the process of obtaining, procuring, and developing nuclear arms that could possibly be used against the United States. This agency is also tasked with other nuclear-related issues like managing nuclear waste, energy security, protecting intellectual property related to nuclear technology, and providing cybersecurity issues related to nuclear capabilities. Next is the Department of Homeland Security, which is often referred to by its abbreviation, which is DHS. This was developed after 9/11 with the following focus that was specifically on counterterrorism and protecting the homeland of the security threats of the United States. With a specific emphasis on securing the U.S. border, securing cyberspace, securing our cyber infrastructure, and maintaining United States economic prosperity, and in order to strengthen our preparedness and our resilience in the face of an attack. The Office of Intelligence and Analysis is an agency within DHS that collects and analyzes information for contribution to the intelligence community and to diffuse that information to state and local law enforcement agencies. So this office is essentially DHS's own specific intelligence arm, and they're used specifically as a mouthpiece to disseminate information to state and local agencies should there be an attack in the United States. There's Coast Guard intelligence, which is an early version of what was originally used during Prohibition to figure out who's running rum into the United States. That's just sort of an interesting piece of history there. They were sort of developed to make sure that people weren't illegally running rum into the United States during Prohibition. But obviously their focus has altered over time, and now their objective is mostly surrounds narcotics being smuggled into the United States. There's the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. You've all heard of this. This is our federal law enforcement agency. They have intelligence gathering contingents in the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which brings together personnel from state, local, and federal agencies to investigate terrorism-related matters. These intelligence gathering teams have broken up multiple terrorist attacks and prevented, significant attacks on the United States. The Drug Enforcement Administration, also referred to as the DEA, is a member of the intelligence community because illegal drugs do threaten U.S. security, and illegal drugs also are a primary funding stream for terrorism. We often refer to this as narcoterrorism. So when that's what we refer to it when narcotics are the funding resource for terrorist activities. There's the Department of State, Bureau of Intelligence and Research, where the objective is to develop intelligence to support U.S. diplomacy with foreign countries. There's the Department of Treasury Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, whose focus is on financial intelligence, following the money, identifying money and income streams as a way of identifying terrorist organizations and interrupting terrorist organizations by seizing those funds as a way of foiling future terrorist attacks, that if we take their money, then they don't have the money to fund their attacks. The Defense Intelligence Agency was created to provide all source intelligence to the Department of Defense, which is often referred to as the DoD. And this helps to coordinate DoD contribution to national intelligence estimates. And finally, the final agency that we're going to talk about is the Defense Clandestine Services. This is the one that you've probably seen lots of movies about. This is the, air quotes, fun one that oversees the operation of 500 clandestine agents worldwide engaging in espionage, collecting information that is analyzed and turned into intelligence. Essentially, this is the organization that oversees the spies that the United States distribute globally in order to gather intelligence to support our intelligence community.